Coming up on Naked Age, how a group of German immigrants built America's first permanent nudist club, and how their vision shaped a movement.
And we met in New York City. It was a rather dingy place, but after all, we were glad to have a meeting place where we can swim and meet in the nude.
Right now on Naked Age. Let's go.
This episode of Naked Age is supported by a sponsorship grant from the American Association for Nude Recreation Education Foundation. Learn more about the Anner Education Foundation and their mission, or make a donation at aanr-ef.com.
Welcome to Naked Age, a history series exploring uncommon stories and profiling unique people who have gone to extraordinary lengths to live a nude life. I'm your host, Evan Nix. Today, we're heading to Skyfarm in New Jersey, the oldest continuously operating nudist club in America, founded in 1932. And then you'll hear from one of its founders, Bill Meyer, in a rare archival interview recorded in 1981. This is Naked Age.
You're listening to Naked Age.
There's a historic patch of land in Liberty Corner, New Jersey. It's said that George Washington and his troops once rested here, drinking from a hillside well before marching on to battle. A century and a half later, this same ground would witness another kind of revolution. One of freedom, but not in politics. This is Skyfarm, the oldest continuously operating nudist club in America.
It's hard to find the entrance to the Skyfarm Nudist Club in Bernards Township. There's no sign, just a mailbox and a buzzer.
It's got a lot of big beams and stuff.
This is considered the oldest nudist colony in the country.
When you come into the grounds of the club and the door closes behind you, you basically leave the stresses of the world behind you.
The property spans 35 acres and features 57 cabins, shared bathhouses, a lodge, a spa, and a heated pool. Members contribute to the upkeep of the grounds and participate in events such as communal dinners, dances, gardening, and sports. Highlights include Nude Olympics and themed gatherings like Nudestock. Skyfarm's story begins with Kurt Barthel, a name you've heard on this podcast, as he's often credited as the grandfather of American nudism. Barthel wasn't the first nudist in the country. Groups practicing nudism, or some version of it, even in established clubs, were already active in New York's Hudson Valley more than 2 decades before. But Barthel, having experienced the FKK philosophy and nudist clubs in Germany, sought to bring those ideas to the United States and helped lay the groundwork for what would become an organized movement. Alongside Barthel was Bill Meyer, another German expat who, with his wife, Lenny, became integral to their burgeoning club's success. All of these folks, and many more, were pioneers of a growing idea. Barthel's group, the American League for Physical Culture, or ALPC, held its first official outing in 1929. A simple picnic by the Hudson River, in which all the attendees took off their clothes. From that modest beginning, the group grew, eventually renting spaces in New York City for indoor gatherings. ALPC faced resistance in its early days, including local opposition from the Liberty Corner Church in the 1930s. They also faced police raids on a rented gymnasium in December 1931, leading to multiple arrests for nude exercise. Those incidents are explored in much more detail in an earlier episode of Naked Age, Episode 8, Generations of Rock Lodge. For anyone who wants to do a deeper dive, I'll make sure the link is in the show notes. Despite the conflicts, the group thrived as a cooperative, and other groups, including some splintering off from ALPC, began to spring up. Around this time, in 1931, Francis and Mason Merrill published Among the Nudists, the first English-language book on the growing nudism movement. The book sparked a surge of public interest in the movement, drawing attention to groups like Barthel's. Nudism rapidly began to grow in popularity, and the ALPC became a hub for those drawn to its philosophy of freedom and simplicity. By 1932, the group had realized the need for a permanent space, one safe from police raids and legal battles. Pooling their resources, they purchased the Liberty Corner property for $3,440. Here, Meyer and Leaney would hand-dig the first pool and serve meals in the clubhouse without the convenience of electricity. In 1939, the group officially adopted the name Skyfarm. Bill Meyer, in particular, became Skyfarm's memory keeper. His scrapbooks captured the origins of the club, but also nudism itself in America. Many years later, in June 1981, Meyer sat down for an interview with another Skyfarm member named Tom Ayling, who had experience as a host for television. In that recording, which you're about to hear courtesy of the American Nudist Research Library, Meyer reflected on the movement's roots, on Barthel's leadership, and the community they built together.
This is Tom Ayling of Skyfarm in New Jersey. The interview that follows is being recorded for the American Nudist Research Library. We are fortunate indeed to have as our guest Mr. Bill Meyer. Any record of the American social nudist movement must include Bill, because Bill is one of the original group organized by Kurt Bartel, who started it all. Bill, let's begin by asking this question. When did you first meet Kurt Bartel and hear about all this?
Well, thank you for the honor of being considered as one of the real early nudists in the United States, for that matter. My wife Leaney and I, were in Europe, and Europe, Germany particularly, having been much more advanced in nudism at the time than we have in our country. And I picked up, by chance, a German publication of a nudist magazine, and I read the name of Kurt Bartel, who we all know by now is one of the, may I say, grandfathers of the movement. That was in the fall of 1929. My work carried me to Florida, and in the spring of 1930, by the time Kurt Bartel had gathered about 16 or 18 members that met in New York and were interested in establishing a camp or some sort of a outdoor meeting place. In the spring of 1930, we were only a small group of, I dare say, 16 or 18 members, and we were hunting for a place where we could meet either in New York State or New Jersey. We found a place in Spring Valley, New York, an abandoned farm which had a little pond, and we worked all summer long to make it suitable for our purposes. We had problems with the sheriff, and toward the end of the summer, we decided that's not for us. However, we all were interested in keeping our group together and possibly grow and establish a regular club. And we met in New York City at Topol's Gym on West 82nd Street. It was a rather dingy place, but after all, we were a small group, and we were glad to have a meeting place where we can swim and meet in the nude. During the winter, we met for dinners occasionally in some New York hotels and again made every endeavor to grow and find a better place for the following summer. So in the spring of 1931, we shopped around for another property suitable for our purposes. We probably gained a few more members because at that time, nudism was written up in books by Meyer, and other books were published, and nudism more or less was off its ground. So in the spring of 1931, we were fortunate to locate another, what we thought at that time, suitable place in the Schooley Mountains near Ironia, New Jersey, and rented another abundant farm, which was fine, but yet not entirely suitable for what we wanted. Another winter went by and we were hard looking for another more suitable place. We wanted to hold our group together and we rented the Heart of New York gym, 41st Street and Broadway, where we had a weekly meeting, gymnastics and showers. Unfortunately, no swimming pool. On Tuesday, December 8, 1931, we had a group of about 36 men and women doing calisthenics, and we were raided by the Vice Squad. Vice Squad officers went up to the roof of the building and peeked down through a skylight and saw us doing calisthenics in the nude. We, of course, were unaware of that, and about half an hour later, as we were ready to leave, they broke the door down and we were all under arrest. 24 of us were put in the paddy wagon and brought up to the night court on 53rd Street for indecent exposure, and we were held there for several hours. About 3 o'clock in the morning, we were put before a judge, but most of us gave fictitious names and addresses, and we were released. We engaged a lawyer, and about 2 weeks later, we were arraigned before a judge, Jonathan Goldstein, and none of the vice cops could hold anything indecent against us. At that time, luckily, Judge Jonathan Goldstein came back from Europe, and his statement at the trial was that nudism is growing in Europe. He just came back from there, and he approves of it. And while there was nothing indecent about our behavior, he set us free. It was interesting to note the headlines that we got at the New York papers. And perhaps that publicity helped us grow, because in the spring of 1932, we again were searching for land, and we, in the meantime, we have grown to a group of about 100. And finally, we bought a 30-acre abundant farm near Liberty Corner, New Jersey, where we are this very day and happy about it.
Bill, let me ask a question. In the beginning, it was known as the American League for Physical Culture, according to the history that I've seen. At some point, it was changed to Skyfarm. When was that, Bill?
The exact date of changing over from the American League of Physical Culture to our present name, Skyfarm Inc., I do not recall. It would be just in the probably 34, 35 area. But anyway, we became quite active. People started to put up platforms and put a tent over it. And my wife and I started to serve people in a pretty well established restaurant where we served 3 full meals, a full breakfast, a cold lunch, and a full dinner for $1 a day. And anybody that stayed more than a week could eat free on Monday. We built a restaurant, cooked on kerosene stoves. There was no electricity. There was no running water yet. We tapped an old well that's been in use for hundreds of years and never went dry. And the first thing, of course, was to get activity. We started the well-known all-over nudist creation of volleyball, and we dug a pool. Luckily, we had a brook running through our property. We had the pool running through the brook, and the overflow we used for showers.
Bill, were there any kind of publications around at that time advocating nudism or the movement or anything at all? I understand that Kurt Bartel had some kind of a little booklet or magazine that he published.
Yes, indeed, Tom. Kurt Bartel was quite active. He was a very capable photographer. And among others, he put out Nude Life, which was even obtainable on newsstands, although the pubic area in those days had to be airbrushed, which did not give us a true picture of our lives. But we gained many members, and 1933-34 was really the growth of Skyfarm. Inevitably, we would grow, and more facilities were needed. We got in electricity, hot and running cold water. We built more play facilities, social hall. We started a social program that we have various activities almost every Saturday night. We have cookouts, we have dances, we have potluck suppers. It's a community spirit that you do not find in many other places than ours.
Bill, I'm interested, and I think our listeners will be too, in what kind of a fellow was Kurt Bartel? Was he a mild kind of a fellow? Was he a driver? Was he a human dynamo? Or just, tell me a little something about Kurt Bartel, because obviously you knew Kurt and his wife over a period of many years. And would you mind just giving us a little background on Kurt himself?
Tom, I'm so glad to be with you and have the opportunity to give you our impression, not just mine, but our early members' impression of Kurt and his nice wife, Elizabeth. Like I said earlier in our talk, he was the one that brought the original group together. And as we gained in membership, I think we charged a rather nominal $250 a month or something. But anyway, Kurt Bartel, during those years, worked as a bookkeeper in New York. His financial status was by no means well off. And with nudism growing as it did from the early 30s to the late 30s and early 40s, and any other man except Kurt Bartel would have seen an opportunity to make a dollar through nudism and by creating the club, which he did. On the contrary, since we did not have at that time a board of governors or directors, as you might call them today, he was president, secretary, and cashier during the early years. And every penny, even during his time of unemployment, was duly accounted for, which in our opinion, and particularly in my opinion, I rate him very high. In the same vein, any honors that were bestowed upon him after he left Skyfarm and settled in California, where he did, I understand, a very good job in promoting our idea, is well worth and well deserved of any man that I've known growing up in our movement.
As a kind of footnote, I'd like to tell you this. Bill Meyer today is a marvelous example of what the American nudist way of life can do. He's a tanned, fellow, erect, stands with wonderful posture, sports-minded, still plays a wicked game of tennis, and I guess is one of the healthiest people I know, healthy both mentally and physically. Bill, we thank you for giving us this interview. It'll go down in the records and be for posterity. Thank you very much, Bill.
Well, again, Tom, I'm honored for this interview, and I'm proud to be connected with this kind of a life for the last almost 50 years. I still go to Europe every year, visiting numerous organizations over there. In fact, I'm a founder member of one of the finest nudist parks outside of Munich, Germany, called Amperland, where I'm also a founder member.
Thank you again, Bill. This was recorded on June 20th, 1981 at Skyfarm, Liberty Corner, New Jersey.
Kurt Barthel passed away in 1966, and Bill Meyer many years later in 2004. They both left behind legacies rooted in community and idealism. Both men, alongside other founders, brought the philosophy of FKK to America and transformed it into something uniquely their own. Thanks to the American Nudist Research Library, we can still hear Meyer's voice, a living thread connecting us to those early days. Skyfarm, the club that they helped create, continues to thrive as a testament to their work and to the enduring spirit of naturism. Their revolution began quietly, but its impact echoes even today. This episode is possible thanks to the American Nudist Research Library. The thumbnail image for this episode was provided by Skyfarm and features an original image of Kurt Barthel riding bear on a tractor. Special thanks to Skyfarm, Susan Shapiro, Dan Spears, and Janice Gursky. Special thanks also goes to the fine folks at the Anner Education Foundation. Please support the Anner Education Foundation at their website, aanr-ef.com. This episode of Naked Age included music licensed and sourced from Envato Elements. The theme song was composed by me. If you enjoy Naked Age, please head over to your podcast platform of choice and leave us a rating and review. Your testimonials help us attract new listeners and share this fascinating history and culture with the world. If you find value in our work and want to financially support it, join our community newsletter, Planet Nude. Planet Nude is a free daily newsletter, but for just $6 a month or $60 a year, you can support the research and content that goes into the newsletter as well as this podcast. Subscribe at www.planetnude.co. Finally, if you appreciate this podcast, or if you follow me and my work on other platforms, please reach out. Send me a message or at me, or email me at evan@planetnude.co. I'd love to hear from you. Thank you for listening to Naked Age. See you next time.